Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me for another Sims 4 speed video. This is a speed build, so it's a completely original build. I've been doing renovations mostly in this game, but this is a unique build, something I've put together myself. And it is a trio of starter rentals for Willow Creek. So I kind of envision these three homes here to be for, I guess, families just starting out, or maybe families that don't really have much money, or you know, perhaps a single sim who might just prefer the renting life. So the first house on the far left here is actually kind of the, I guess, more family styled home. It's, I guess, one of the, I wouldn't even say it's the biggest. I think maybe the middle one is the biggest. But I think it's probably more appropriate for a family, whereas the middle one is more like a bachelor's pad. It's got like a loft style bedroom, and the last one is kind of like a low income home that is pretty cramped, and so if you did move a family in there, there wouldn't be much space. But I mean, that's, you know, some gameplay that some people prefer, including myself. That's why I built it. And yeah, so I mean, they are all pretty much like, I had them in mind as being starter rentals, but you know, you can kind of do whatever you want with them. And yeah, so at the moment I'm just kind of figuring out the shape of the build and, you know, the layouts. In terms of the footage here now, this was one of the first buildings that I built when I returned to The Sims 4. One of the first builds that I did, originally I wanted, because I mean this is a huge lot and it's in kind of the low income area of Willow Creek, and so I did want there to be like a rental here, and I originally envisioned putting like a building that looked kind of like social housing, but I couldn't really build anything, or nothing that I liked anyway, that kind of fit in with the surroundings. One of the unfortunate limitations with The Sims 4 is that given the world or the neighborhoods here are pretty much set, you can't change them except without mods, but you're kind of limited to the style of the world and the neighborhoods and the buildings, the shell buildings that surround it. And so I guess the social buildings that I was trying to build, I was trying to make them look like they fit into this area, but still they really didn't look that right. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to like, I really want some rentals in this neighborhood here, but what I'll do is I'll just build a few houses and make them kind of in the Willow Creek style, which I really enjoyed doing anyway. I mean, it's, even though it's a limitation, I was able to, you know, get some fun out of it. You know, looking at different building styles, particularly in New Orleans, to get some inspiration for what to build here was quite fun. And even putting the builds together, yeah, that was fun in itself. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. Oh my gosh, why did I even say that? So I can tell you that I did look at a reference photo. I was looking at just, you know, like I guess houses in New Orleans, and cheap looking houses anyway. And a photo came up of some kind of like shotgun. I was thinking of shoebox apartments, but shotgun style houses. And I'll put the image up on screen so you can have a look and see what I was kind of drawing my inspiration from. And so I kind of wanted to go with this idea where the houses are very close together. There's a couple of, well, there's actually two shotgun style houses in that photo, and then there's a couple of multi-story buildings. And I wasn't sure if they were houses or if they were commercial buildings. I'm pretty sure they're houses, but the one that I built was as a house anyway. But I kind of built them in with this kind of with the styles in mind, but also the placement of the buildings as well. So they're very close together. They have very small backyards, and also in terms of how they look, I mean, the two kind of single-story buildings on either side I copied those directly from the reference photos, but the two-story building, I kind of made up the color scheme with that one on my own. One thing I did notice about New Orleans houses, especially the smaller type of houses that are in, I guess, more of the suburban neighborhoods, they have very whack colors. And that's probably why some of the homes here, and particularly in this neighborhood, have some kind of crazy color schemes. I mean, they're quite muted. I guess they're more, what do you call it, like pastel tones. I mean, but some of the reference photos I was looking at, the colors were really kind of, you know, solid, bright colors with even brighter accents. So, I mean, this house here that I'm doing is very plain, you know, plain Jane. So it's white and it's got some pretty neutral, well, not neutral, but I guess more pastel kind of, I guess I was going to say warmer tones, but I think all the tones that I go for in these houses are warmer, but the color schemes are not that really out of it. But the last house, the house that I envisioned for a low income family is quite, yeah, it's quite got some random color schemes there. Well, there's a lot of pink, I'll say that. So yes, now, yeah, in terms of the footage, it is kind of all over the place. I think I was talking about the footage a little while ago, but here I am talking about the footage again. It is all over the place because it is one of the first builds that I built for when I came back to The Sims 4, and I said in maybe a couple of my other builds or renovations that my plan is to kind of do the builds first and then do them again for a video, because I really do like to take my time when I'm building, and I don't like to rush through things, and I like to plan things out. And also, I'm not really that familiar with The Sims 4 yet in terms of all the tools and all the objects that are available. So it has been a bit of a journey, and this particular build here, it was just all over the place. Like, I was not very consistent in terms of where I was building, you know, focusing on one room at a time. I spent a really long time looking through swatches, and so there are a lot of cuts in the footage. And given that this is technically like 3 lots in one, I did cut out a lot of unnecessary stuff, or stuff that I thought was unnecessary. Like, I don't think I have much footage of me doing the layouts of the buildings, and there may be times where I skip like a bathroom or something, because you know, bathrooms, the bathrooms are really small in these buildings, so they're not really that exciting. Like, even decorating them wasn't that fun. It was pretty average. But yes, so another couple of other things to note is that I have play tested this lot, and there may be some things that you see me do in the footage that I actually change from the final version, which you'll see in the screenshots. Apologies if you can hear my washing machine in the background. I hope you can't. I'll have to come back and check if you can hear it, but I'm just going to talk over it. But one of the changes that I had to make, and that's kind of like an amateur mistake, I guess just me not having played this game for a while, is I placed some clutter objects that kind of, I guess, disrupt some gameplay. So I placed some dishes. I think I placed like a bowl or something on the shelf above the fridge, and that actually ends up spoiling. So I took that out. There's also a food delivery package that I place in the very end rental, and that I just recently figured out it stops Sims from being able to put away leftovers in the fridge. Like, I don't know why that is. It's such a random bug, but using that object as a kind of like a debug decoration kind of causes that issue. So I did take that out as well. You'll see me place it towards the very end, but yeah, in the screenshots it'll be gone. And that was such a mission for me to try and figure out when I was, you know, playing. I don't even think I realized when I was playtesting this lot. It was when I was playtesting another lot that I just was having, and I was having an issue with the fridge, and it was really hard to figure out because I would have my sim try and put away food, and then they'll get a route fail. Like, they'll tell me that they couldn't reach the fridge. And so I thought maybe I had blocked the fridge with maybe some decorations or something. And like, I moved all the decorations, moved the fridge, and I was still getting that issue, and it wasn't doing it in other lots, it was just doing it on one particular lot. I even tried removing all my mods, and it was still happening. And so yeah, then I just did a quick Google search, and just off the off chance someone mentioned it in a comment. I think it might have been on the AHQ. Yeah, someone mentioned a comment about, I think they said like a grocery bag was used as a debug decoration, and they took that out, and then Sims were able to put food away again. So yeah, once I took away the food delivery bag, my Sims were able to put away food in the fridge again, which was almost a miracle in my eyes, because yeah, it was so frustrating. It took so long for me to figure out. So yeah, this family, this what do you call it, rental here is the one that I envisioned for kind of like a family with 2 kids. It's reasonably sized, like it is very small, but I feel like there is a decent amount of space for a family to function quite well, and they could live here for a while and be quite happy. The bedroom for the kids is, how I set it up was for a teen and an infant, so quite a large age gap between the children living here. But I do manage to fit in all the kind of the necessary objects quite nicely. Now in terms of the packs that I've used, I have stuck to the base game and for rent, obviously, because you need it for the rental functionality. And yeah, that's again just to make my builds a little more accessible, but also for me personally, because having all the packs enabled is quite overwhelming at this point in time. Like, I'm still getting used to this game, and yeah, but sometimes I do wish, like when I am doing the decorating and the cluttering and stuff, it's really difficult with a limited amount of packs, because a lot of my spaces do end up, well, I think anyway, it's especially in this build here, like I feel like there are some kind of not empty looking spaces, but they spaces that could do with a bit more clutter. But at the same time, like it is, for I guess starter homes, you don't want them to be too cluttered, because it all adds up in terms of the cost of the build. So I do want them to kind of be relatively cheap. I feel like renting in general is cheap. You could build a reasonably pricey unit or apartment, and the rent would still be kind of cheap. I mean, I haven't played in a really expensive rental yet, so I'm not really sure how, I'm not really familiar with the rent calculations, but the families that I have living here were able to live here. A couple of them were unemployed, and they were able to get by just fine. But yes, I think out of all of the builds, this one is probably my favorite in terms of the colors that I put together. They're kind of very, I guess, like I didn't want to go for anything like too modern. I just wanted it to have like a real kind of homey feel. So it is a bit of an old house, and some of the colors and especially for the walls and the curtains and stuff, like the kind of the almost teal colored curtains here in the bedroom are a bit funky and a little mismatched, but not too mismatched where it looks really uncoordinated. So I didn't want to put like super kind of, I guess, high-end modern stuff in here. I just wanted it to look a little slapped together, but not to the point where it just looks crazy. And I think I'm coming up to the end of the interior for this house. I'm just kind of changing the dining table here, because I wasn't too sure whether having that chair right up against the wall would stop Sims from being able to use it. So I just put a two-tile dining table with 3 chairs around it. And I'm just adding some more kind of kids decorations for the kids bedroom, a little bit more clutter. And yeah, just I think I'm going to, oh no, hang on, I'm playing around with the clutter on this bowl here. I end up taking that out because yeah, it spoils. The other thing that I did in the footage that you'll see me do is I sized down the air conditioning units, and I didn't realize until I was playtesting, but they actually have like an effect where, well, they're animated, and when they're sized down, the animation of I guess the fan inside the unit doesn't size down. So it stuck out, and so what I had to do was resize it back to its normal size and move it, because when I left it where it was, it looked a bit bulky. So any Sims coming down the stairs, which you can see here, is just up in the top of the screen. Any Sims coming down those stairs would have looked like they would have walked right into the air conditioning unit, which wouldn't have been a fun time. So I moved it off to the side next to the chimney. So for the fencing, I use the debug walls, and I just really love these walls. I love the debug fences in general. They just look better, and you have more kind of freedom to, especially with the column placement. It can be a bit frustrating with the normal kind of fences in build mode that they kind of automatically place fence columns, and that can be a bit irritating when you want a column to be in a certain place. So using these kind of give you a bit more freedom to choose I guess the placement of the columns there. And I did want to have divisions between these houses, so it looked like they had their own backyards and stuff, even though technically all the backyards are considered public space. They are only accessible by the houses that they are behind. And so you don't really need to worry about other Sims kind of coming into your backyard, even though it's considered a public space. I didn't have that issue. The only issue is with the end apartment, the balcony. There's like a telescope on the balcony, and Sims who don't belong to that household will be able to use it. But I mean, I didn't want it, like that house there doesn't really have a backyard. So I mean, technically their back porches are free for all for anyone. But I think perhaps that's just like a characteristic of that build. It's the cheapest build of all of them. I'm pretty sure it's the cheapest build of cheapest unit of all of these three here. So perhaps that's just one of the downsides of it, is that anything you put on that back porch is free for anyone to use at their own leisure. So yeah, that's just unfortunate for anyone who lives there. So I'm just doing some landscaping here. I had to do a little bit of changes to the landscaping at the rear of this building, because some of the bushes, the debug bushes that I used, were getting in the way of, I think, the easel and the planters that I put out the back. So I think I had to take a couple of the bushes out and maybe swap them with some bushes that aren't debug. The reason why I'm choosing the debug is because I feel like some of them just look better. Some of them are just, nice and big and lush, and also because they don't cost anything, so they don't contribute to the price of the rental or the lot if you use them on lots. Adding on some of these planters, these hanging planters, which I really love, and I'm putting them all around the world of my Willow Creek builds. And now just adding in some furniture. So yes, I mentioned an easel and some planters, and this is just where I place them here. So this is almost the end of this first rental unit. And one other thing that I did, and you're going to see all this in the screenshots, but one other thing that I did is with the chimney, I just kind of lowered it a bit. It looks a bit too tall at the moment, so the chimney does end up coming into the half wall a bit more, so only the top of it sticks out. Now moving on to the second unit. This one was really, really, really fun to put together, because I can't even remember the last time that I did like a loft style bedroom in a build. And it was really fun, and the color scheme that I go for is very kind of typical modern color scheme. Like, it's a lot of browns, beiges, and whites, and kind of very dark wood tones. I did say, I think in my movers and shakers renovation, that I was trying not to fall into the trap of, you know, with modern builds, kind of go to the default color scheme, which in my opinion is like a lot of brown and beiges and black. I feel like that's it is kind of a modern color scheme, and it's very easy to work with. Like there's so many swatches that go well together in those colors, and it's easy to kind of fall into a bit of almost like a trap where you kind of pick the same color scheme because it just goes well together. And this was the first time that I kind of used this color scheme, and so I'm happy that it's here. But in another build that I have coming up, I ended up I did that color scheme initially, and then I was like, oh heck, like I've already used this color scheme before, so I'm going to change it up. So yes, I just need to, for my own sake, I just need to be, I guess, a little more mindful of the color schemes that I use, so things just aren't so repetitive. I do like my builds to look somewhat unique. Even though I am playing with a limited amount of packs at the moment, I do want them to, you know, feel more unique. So we've got the ground floor, and it has like a study and a bathroom, and then this kind of open space is going to be the kitchen, living, and dining area. And I mean, you could have a couple live here or a single sim. At the moment, I've got a single sim living here. She is an artist, and there's a lot of space for her. But she also has a dog. So I did put some, in my own personal save, I put some pet objects. But yeah, not very many, just for my own gameplay there. But yes, she's an artist, and there's lots of space for her. She, you know, has people over. She hosts a lot of parties, and it's actually a pretty good party pad as well. There is a stereo and, you know, fun stuff like that. The layout was a bit of a struggle because even though it looks like there's a lot of space down here, once I started filling it up, it did start to get quite cramped looking. But I do a few different things with the counters here to make it look, I guess, less cramped, and I kind of make better use of the space. The chimney, because I do like my chimneys to kind of be realistic. I don't like just placing a fireplace and then it having no chimney or whatever to kind of, I just want to add that realism of, you know, if I place a fireplace then it has to be a chimney. So I do like to build the chimneys. I wanted the chimney to be inside though because it looked funny on the exterior. And so I did try playing around with it because the fireplace was getting to be in the way. But I think in the end I just move, yes I do, I move the fireplace from downstairs to the upstairs. Because yeah, it was just way too bulky. There wasn't enough space for the fireplace to be down here, so I moved the fireplace upstairs as well as the chimney, which I think is, you know, it fills out the upstairs bedroom space quite nicely, so I'm kind of glad that I decided to move it up there in the end. You will see some bushes poking through the walls there, but I do use the tool mod to take care of that. So yes, I mean, I've said that I do playtest these lots, and I playtest them for a while. So I try my best to find kind of all the quirks and stuff and iron those out before I publish these videos and upload the buildings for people to download. But you know, sometimes I may miss stuff. If there is anything that you see or you find that is a huge problem, feel free to let me know and I can amend the build and upload a new version. So yeah, you can see I tried to put the chimney on the exterior, and you would have just gotten a quick glimpse of it, but it just, yeah, I wasn't really liking how it looked. I just feel like having a wall of windows was much more, it just looked better. So yeah, that's going to be a big change coming up. Also, it's kind of, I find it quite difficult to do like a two-story wall that, in terms of the window situation, I feel like it looks alright with floor-to-ceiling windows, but none of these windows are floor-to-ceiling. And so you can see here I've got this like gap, and so what I decided to do was put a kind of like a, not really a platform, I wouldn't really know how to describe it, but it's more like a feature that kind of breaks up the space between the two rows of windows. And I did consider making it accessible, and you'll even see me put a ladder and, you know, kind of extend it out a bit, but I feel like this space was a little too small for it to work, and so I do take it out. And it also looked a bit funny because the ladder on the very edge of the of this kind of accessible area, like there, it looked really weird, and so I tried putting it in the corner, but it was kind of tucked away behind the curtain, and you know, yeah, I don't know, I just couldn't really make it work, in my opinion anyway. I mean, it is a really nice idea, and I think I'm going to save it for another build, because looking at this footage now, I do really like the idea, but yeah, just not for this build. So I'll put that in my pocket and save it for a rainy day. I did find some like kind of wall pipes in the debug live edit, sorry, not debug, in the live edit objects, and I put those on the wall, and I also put them on another wall as well, just to kind of add to that detail. But now I'm moving on to, oh, actually no, before I move on to the bedroom space, I put in these pipes just on the wall there. And oh yes, I was playing around with the floor edges because I noticed it was sticking out outside, so I had to take care of that. I think now I'm just looking at these columns. I was deciding whether to have them as like grey or black, and I think I stay with the black. And now I'm moving on to the actual bedroom space. So it is a kind of like a bachelor's studio, loft style bedroom. But I mean, you know, a couple could easily live here, a couple that may not plan on having children or anything like that. Maybe they're really young, or maybe, you know, they just don't want children at all. But I was also mindful of the price of stuff. So yeah, I mean, even though this is probably the most expensive of the rentals, like I didn't want it to be crazy expensive to the point where maybe, you know, a sim who is or has just graduated or something like that, maybe they want to live somewhere a little nicer, and yeah, but they don't have a crazy amount of money to spend on rent, but they are able to get something that's, you know, nicely renovated, but it doesn't have the most expensive furniture. So the bed is the cheapest bed, but it's got a nice swatch, so I mean, I had to use it. And then just going in with some more kind of decorations for the bedroom here, just having an issue placing that plant, but it does come together nicely. I used the curtains from For Rent, which look quite nice. Just add a bit of color that I think the space was needing. The rug, I don't stick with the blue rug though, or the rug with blue accents on it. I change that to, I think, just the black and gray colored one. I think I was just kind of figuring out where to put that mirror, because I wanted to put a chair in there as well, and then adding in some shoes, some shoe racks. We've got this little space in the corner here, and that's basically just for the dresser and another mirror, and then adding in some more detail to above the dresser. When I get to it, I'm actually just placing another lamp and a plant as well. No, actually I took the plant away. It's been so long since I actually built this. I built this probably, oh, it's got to be maybe 3 weeks ago. So I'm not 100% sure of what I actually stick with when I'm doing the placing all the objects in this footage. But now I'm onto the bathroom, and I like the wooden floor in the bathroom, but I do change the wall tile to be white. And there's enough space for a bath and a shower, which I was pretty pleased with. But I do put the shower in the corner here and just kind of section it off and put in a pedestal sink and a toilet, and then I just go in with the usual bathroom details. So we've got a kind of like a wall cabinet mirror. I imagine there's bathroom stuff in it. I don't know. I did think about putting these shelves in the bathroom as well. Like I put them there initially, but I do take them away and I end up putting a picture behind the bath instead. And I'm not sure why I did that. I mean, I feel like it looks okay, but I just like the picture better. And then just adding in a plant in the corner there, and I'm pretty sure the bathtub is still usable with that plant there. I don't remember taking it away, but we will just have to wait and see when we go to the screenshots. And then just a few more bits and pieces of clutter around the bedroom here. So some books on the end table there, and then a statue for above the fireplace, the mantelpiece there. And now I'm just replacing the lights. Like, I do really like these ceiling lights, but I prefer, I mean, for like big living spaces like this, I feel like they're really good. But I do for like bedrooms and stuff, or if I want a build with a more moody atmosphere, then I will use kind of the other ceiling lights, and I won't even, you know, disguise the flying saucer lights or whatever they're called. Because yeah, like, I mean, they do come in handy if you do want a really bright space, but I prefer to have more kind of atmospheric lighting. And yeah, just a personal preference of mine. I mean, if you like that, you know, like more of the brighter styled lights, you can always place a few of those in if you want. Here I just kind of extended the kitchen space a little bit. Now I do place the fridge along here initially, but I change it, and I can't remember for what reason I changed it. I think it's because, yes, I know now why, because this little room here in the final version, I just realized, like, you know, anyone playing with Laundry Day or wants to add like laundry facilities, I do like the hot water cylinder in the space or in the builds, because I feel like it adds a nice detail. But I did realize that putting it in there meant that there was no room for like a washer or a dryer. Like, I wanted that space to be for a washer and dryer as well. So I do extend that room out a little bit in the final version of the build, and I moved the door that I wanted it to be centered with that room, so there was a space for the cylinder on either side of the door. A space for the cylinder on one side of the door and the washer and dryer on the other side. So I do rearrange the fridge and the counter to be on the other side of the wall there. This bookshelf, I did have to move it because Sims weren't able to use the computer with it there as it is, so I did have to move it over one. You will see that in the screenshots. And yeah, this is kind of just like the study area. So my Sim here just comes in here to paint, to read, and just to chill out, and actually put her pet items in there as well, so the pet bed and stuff is in there. And adding in some final details to this room here, so like some lights, and then I come back and just add a little bit more kind of detail and clutter to this room here. So we've just put in a ceiling light, and I know I'm putting in a trash can in the kitchen, and then I am putting in just a couch, and it also gets, I'm pretty sure it gets a trash can, there we go, and some tissues, a box of tissues. Now for the hallway, and we've got just the usual coat rack and an end table with a picture above it, which is kind of different to what I've been doing lately. I've been putting a lot of mirrors above my end table, sideboards, or hall tables. Like, they've got many names, those things, but I either put mirrors or pictures above them. And then just doing the back porch here with a barbecue and some tables and chairs, and then I go with a couple of planters too. And of course some outdoor lights. And with the front of the build, it does change a little bit. So it's got these two tiny little dinky windows on the bottom story. And I just, yeah, in the end, I just felt like that didn't look very good. So I changed the windows to match the windows on the upper level. You'll see me do that in just a minute. I'm just kind of adding in some details for the front of the building here. And of course, adding in the wood detail for the little balcony that isn't accessible. It's just there for decoration really, but yeah, here I am just changing up the windows, and then I also change the railing and the color of the door, and I do some floor edging here, but it's not going to be this beigey color, it's going to be white in the end. And yeah, so I think oh no, just doing some curtains here. I think we're just coming to the end of this build here, this rental. Just adding in some spandrels for decoration, and of course some detailing to the build. So some of this kind of like grime that's running down the side of the building, that adds a nice detail, kind of gives the building a bit of character and ages it a little bit, makes it look a little bit older. And now I'm moving on to the third and final unit. And yeah, so I played around with the color scheme for this one because I mean, I had a look at I was thinking, you would have seen in the picture that there was like I think there's like an orange and yellow color scheme, and there's a pink and green color. And I did kind of play around with the the orange color scheme first, but I felt like the pink and green one just kind of complemented the other builds a little better. I feel like the orange one was a little too crazy looking, although I do admit that I do have an orange house coming up, kind of like in this style, but yeah. So, I mean, yeah, this house is the cheapest of them all. The furniture is quite cheap, and it is a lot more cramped than the other builds. And the color scheme is crazy, so it is definitely a crazy house. So yeah, the color scheme that I settled on is, I think I said earlier, is just, yeah, pink and green. But I'm just kind of figuring that out here, like what kind of green do I want to use, what kind of, how much pink do I want. I chose this green door, and then I see there's some white accent around it, so do I want to put white on the build now? I put these spandrels on manually, so I know there's a spandrel feature, but I just chose to use these do it manually here because I felt like these ones look, I think they're a bit bigger than the spandrels that they're kind of like the automatic spandrels. And yeah, so I'm just still working on the color scheme here. I go for a pink and white fence, and then I was like, you know what? So there's a lot of pink and white assets, so I will just kind of go with the pink and white and green theme. This one here, I don't think I show the floor plan or the layout. But you do kind of, we will see it, of course. I'm just kind of doing the landscaping here. And I wanted the landscaping for this building to look a little, or this rental here to be kind of a bit more, I guess, kind of bushy and unkept. Just to kind of make the building look a little cheaper. And yeah, it's not super grungy or anything. I do have a grungy rental coming up, but this one here, I keep it, it's more or less kind of just cheap furnishings, a little bit of mess, and some kind of wacky colors, like the pink and the green come inside, but it's not like dirty. I think I do put some like marks on the walls and stuff, but it doesn't look like super dirty to me. It just looks a little cluttered or a little messy, but not dirty. Now the floor plan for this build is very, very simple. So I mean, it's a hallway going down to the living, kitchen and dining area, and then the bedrooms are just off to the side, and then there is a back door off to the back porch. I feel like with shotgun houses, the floor plans are usually, you're kind of limited in terms of what you can do with the floor plan because the houses are so kind of, long and skinny. I tend to gravitate to a hallway that comes out to either a living area and kitchen and dining area all at the back of the house, or it's the opposite way around where the living, kitchen and dining area is at the front of the house and the bedrooms are at the back, or also down the side of the building. This one here, I kind of had to go with the living in the kitchen and dining area at the back because this house has a back door. So I thought it would have been a bit funny having a back door off of someone's bedroom in a shotgun house. And I didn't want the hallway to extend, the entire length of the building. Like, I just thought that would have been a little too excessive, a little too much hallway if you ask me. So I just settled for the living spaces to be down this end of the house with the bedrooms down the side as well as the bathroom. Now for the furniture choices, you can see here just going with all the cheap stuff. That couch actually looks quite nice, but I think I don't even know why I settled on it. I mean, it looks nice, but I just don't, it doesn't really look like a cheap couch. But maybe, you know, maybe the landlord, this was their property before and it was like a kind of an old couch that they didn't need anymore, so they just decided to leave it for the new tenants. I don't know. So now I'm just going on with some clutter. So I'm adding some booze bottles onto the coffee table here with a cup, and just looking through the debug catalog for some more kind of debug items and just, you know, bits and pieces of clutter to make it look a little messy and yeah, a little more lived in as well. And yeah, I'm still getting used to the debug menus as well, and that's only just the base game debug menu. Like, I haven't really delved into the debug menu of or the debug catalog of any of the other packs and stuff. So here is the hallway, and this is where the computer is, and I'm just kind of cluttering up this end table here. And this is where I said earlier at the very beginning of the video, I talked about that food delivery bag and how it causes issues with Sims being not being able to put away leftovers. So I do take that out, but I am just doing a little bit of clutter on the desk here before moving on to the master bedroom. And at the moment I kind of like did it very kind of feminine, because I do envision a single mother living here with her 2 children, and so I did want this room to, you know, kind of have a bit of a feminine tone to it. So I went with some kind of almost like, they're not floral patterns, they're like just a geometric pattern there that looks quite feminine. So I also went with some candles and some makeup and perfume on this end table here, and some books as well. And then just adding some more clutter on the place, adding in a washing basket and a dressing gown, because of course, you know, the Sim lives in a green and pink house, so they have to have a green dressing gown to match their decor, which is a bit ridiculous, but yeah, it is what it is. And then just adding some kind of wall marks here. So I feel like these just add character to the build. Like, it's not necessarily like dirty, I guess they're like scuff marks. But yeah, the kids' bedroom is so small. So you can see here I barely fit in bunks, but it's literally just bunks, a dresser, and a toy box. So yeah, like, I mean, it's a low-income house. It's not ideal for a family, not necessarily long-term. So you could perhaps play, like, you know, this is like a transitionary, perhaps rag to riches challenge. Like, I don't know if you move houses in rags to riches, but if I play with Sims who are kind of really poor, you know, maybe they'll live in like a singles household and then they'll need to upgrade to a bigger house, then I feel like this would be a good place for them to start. And, you know, maybe they'll have 1 kid, or if they, you know, have 1 kid and then have another and they can't afford to move on, then this place would be perfect for them, because there's bunk beds there. So this is the bathroom, and I think this is one of the only bathrooms. Oh no, I think we did see another bathroom that I decorated. We did too, yes, in the loft bedroom. But this is the last bathroom of the build. It is very cramped. It has no windows, so it is a bit dark, but I prefer the term moody, like a moody atmosphere. And then adding in the essential light switches, and then I put the hot water cylinder outside, because I think it's a fun little detail there, that hot water cylinder. So I was quite pleased to be able to put it in my builds here. Now we're going to look at the screenshots. So with the screenshots here, I was a bit annoyed because there's a bug at the moment where the ceilings are showing with outdoor lighting instead of indoor lighting. So I had to kind of position the camera so that you couldn't see the ceiling, because otherwise the screenshots just looked really bad. So I'm going to leave you to enjoy these, and I'm going to say thanks so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to bring this to you. If you'd like to download this build, it's uploaded to the gallery. My gallery ID is minosimu_NZ. That's all I have for now. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your day, and say take care, and I will talk to you soon.